In June 2009, Michael Jackson died, carrying more than $500 million in debt. A tragic paradox for the king of pop. He had earned between $50 million and $100 million a year for a decade, yet he was bleeding cash. He bought the most valuable song catalog in music history, built an amusement park in his backyard, and gave hundreds of millions to charity. Yet, by the end, he was spending $30 million a month more than he had. How did this happen? Here's how the king of pop built a financial empire and then burned through it, tragically. In 1981, Michael Jackson flew to London to record music with Paul McCartney. A legendary collaboration. During sessions at McCartney's home, they'd discuss music publishing. Artist's true source of wealth, McCartney explained. McCartney showed Jackson his thick notebook of song copyrights. He owned the publishing rights to countless hits. Jackson studied the pages, asking how songs were bought and how they generated income. He was learning. McCartney explained that music publishing was lucrative. Jackson didn't forget this lesson. He had a plan. Jackson quietly told McCartney he would buy the Beatles songs one day. McCartney laughed it off, but Jackson was serious. He instructed his attorney, John Branca, to start acquiring song catalogs. He was preparing for something monumental. Jackson began buying smaller groups of songs, testing the model. He acquired hits by Sly and the Family Stone. Then, in 1984, the opportunity arose. ATV Music went up for sale, including 251 Lennon-McCartney songs. A catalog of nearly 4,000 songs, including the prized Beatles collection, was on the market. McCartney passed. Michael didn't. He instructed his attorneys to purchase the songs, moving with calculated speed and determination. After more than 10 months of difficult negotiations against 4 other high-powered bidders, the deal was closed. Branca purchased ATV Music on Jackson's behalf for $47.5 million on August 10, 1985. A staggering price tag then. But the catalog was an engine. It started showing immediate returns as the songs remained active throughout the 80s and 90s. Every time a Beatles song played, appeared in a commercial, or was licensed, Jackson earned royalties. A genius move. A decade later, he made another move. Jackson sold 50% of the catalog to Sony for $95 to $100 million. This formed the joint venture Sony/ATV. It expanded the catalog's reach, adding songs from Bob Dylan and Marvin Gaye. At its peak, the Sony/ATV catalog was worth well over $1 billion. Jackson's original investment grew significantly. That $47.5 million decision in 1985 would eventually generate billions. One of the smartest deals in music history. But that's the paradox of Michael Jackson's financial life. His shrewd investment existed alongside reckless spending. In 1988, fresh off bat in 1988, Jackson bought a 2,700-acre property in Santa Barbara County, California. He named it Neverland. Inspired by Peter Pan's youth and innocence, the estate cost $17 million. He spent an estimated $35 million on upgrades. Over $50 million was sunk into one piece of land before a single visitor walked through its gates. It wasn't a house, it was a kingdom. Neverland featured a Ferris wheel, carousel, bumper cars, a roller coaster, and an amusement arcade. A full private carnival. He also built a zoo with llamas and elephants, and a private train line with a station named after his mother, Catherine. The main house was 12,598 square feet, with 6 bedrooms. A 4-acre lake with a waterfall, a pool house, 3 guest houses, and a movie theater. Keeping this place running was a financial undertaking, rivaling a small theme park. Neverland had over 100 employees.
Jackson kept spending on improvements. The ranch's annual maintenance averaged $5 million.
Some documents indicate $1 million per month.
Yet, Neverland wasn't just a vanity project. Jackson often hosted parties for underprivileged or terminally ill children.
Events at Neverland included Elizabeth Taylor's wedding in 1991 and Oprah Winfrey's live interview in 1993.
Neverland was Jackson's personal sanctuary and public statement rolled into one.
But the bills never stopped.
The trouble was, Jackson treated it as an infinite well. The upkeep didn't pause when his income dipped.
After allegations hit in 1993, everything changed.
That marked the beginning of a tragic path, financially and emotionally.
Jackson received word in 2008 that a public auction of Neverland would proceed unless he paid $24.5 million by March. He defaulted on a loan and entered Neverland into an ownership agreement with Colony Capital for $23 million. This allowed him to remain the majority stakeholder. But after his acquittal in 2005, he never returned to Neverland.
He no longer considered it a home. The main house was closed as a cost-cutting measure while he lived in Bahrain.
Neverland was the big-ticket item, but it wasn't the only drain.
Jackson's day-to-day spending was a phenomenon.
He earned $50 to $100 million a year from 1985 to 1995, yet lived an exorbitant lifestyle, spending $50 million annually.
When income dropped after scandals, spending didn't. Accountant William Ackerman testified Jackson spent heavily on jewelry.
Jackson was famously captured in a 2003 documentary, Living with Michael Jackson, filmed by Martin Bashir. One clip showed Jackson allegedly spending $5 million in seconds at a Vegas antique shop, pointing at items and tallying them.
The singer claimed most of Bashir's documentary was exaggerated. Exaggerated or not, the financial paper trail told its own story.
Jackson spent a lot on cosmetic plastic surgeries, expensive gifts, art, cars, jewelry, and furniture. His collection extended well beyond Neverland. He had a $10 million Las Vegas pad, the Thriller Villa, with a hidden art gallery, a secret escape tunnel for paparazzi, and a chapel for weddings.
An $8 million Bahrain luxury mansion. An $18 million home in Los Angeles. Michael Jackson's daily spending was a phenomenon all on its own.
Jackson never developed the ability to say no to his impulses. He used to indulge in shopping therapy to feel better. He grew up performing from age 5, never having a normal relationship with money or life.
Fame came before financial understanding.
By the time his money was enormous, so were his habits. In 2005, an accountant testified Jackson was spending $20 to $30 million more than he earned. He was in debt by $285 million. Instead of cutting back, he borrowed more. His spending outpaced his borrowing. His debt started in 1994 with $30 million owed, quickly growing to $140 million by 1998. He borrowed repeatedly. To finance his lifestyle, he leveraged his most valuable asset, his stake in the Sony/ATV catalog. He secured a $380 million loan from Bank of America. Using his catalog stake as collateral, the annual interest payments alone ran into tens of millions. The borrowed money was quickly spent. He spent the entire $270 million loan, plus an additional $120 million, within a few short years. The cycle was relentless. Borrow, spend, accumulate interest, refinance, repeat. By the end of his life, he had exhausted the loan. He had no realistic path to repaying the principal or mounting interest. His legal fees compounded the crisis. Jackson's financial problems continued. He borrowed large sums, facing numerous lawsuits including a $12 million claim for unpaid fees. He was forced to defend himself against a slew of lawsuits, including a $7 million claim from the son of the King of Bahrain. By 2006, the situation was critical. Jackson pawned pieces of his empire just to stay afloat. He agreed to give Sony an option to buy half his stake for $250 million. He was now pawning his empire to stay above water. In 2007, his net worth was $236.6 million in assets, but he was $500 million in debt. A year later, he was preparing to launch the This Is It concert tour in London. This was his final gamble, a financial lifeline. He died close to the eve of the tour, leaving his estate liable for $40 million to the tour promoter, AEG. But here's the twist. In the years since his death, Michael Jackson's estate has generated over $2 billion in revenue. His debts have been fully repaid. In September 2016, Sony finalized its acquisition of Jackson's share of Sony/ATV for $750 million. That catalog he bought for $47.5 million. It returned more than 15 times his original investment. In 2016, Jackson's estate earned $825 million, the highest yearly amount for a celebrity by Forbes. In 2023, his estate earned $115 million, in large part due to the Broadway musical MJ. His estate is now worth $3.5 billion. So, Michael Jackson's financial legacy became far more stable and valuable after his death than during his life. An uncomfortable truth. The king of pop never figured out how to stop spending, but the things he spent on, music, catalogs, his brand, they turned out to be worth more than anyone imagined. His financial story isn't simple greed or recklessness. It's the story of a man who lived without limits, trusting money would always be there. He left a fortune he never enjoyed. What do you think about Michael Jackson's financial paradox? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more untold stories. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next expose. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay curious.